Hello, and welcome to the Thursday edition of Video Clips brought to you by Wellness Forum Health, Wellness Forum Institute, and Make Americans Free Again. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Heidi Plum, and I'm Pam's co-author for our new book, Conversations with Pam, The Power of Informed Healthcare. Have you gotten your copy yet? I've got a couple of quick reminders for you today. First, don't forget to RSVP for our free launch party to celebrate our new book, Conversations with Pam, The Power of Informed Healthcare. This event will be held on Saturday, November 8th, starting at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. The event is virtual and it'll be held via Zoom. So to register, just call Wellness Forum at 614-841-7700, or you can email Pam directly at pampopper@wellnessforum.com. Second, remember Pam is offering a free microbiome boot camp happening on Monday, November 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern. This event will also be held via Zoom, so if you can't make it live, no worries. Everyone who signs up will gain access to the recording to watch at their convenience. And finally, let's talk about becoming an informed consumer of healthcare and why it is more important than ever to do so. The clip we're about to roll will highlight one of the big reasons why sometimes utilizing your healthcare services can be useless and even harmful, unfortunately. Watch as Pam and I unpack this very important issue.
Welcome back to QuickTakes, where we dig into current topics connected to our new book, Conversations with Pam, The Power of Informed Healthcare. Pam, cardiologist Asim Malhotra, a chief medical advisor for Make America Healthy Again, was recently quoted by Dilbert creator Scott Adams as saying, 20 to 50% of all healthcare activity in the United States brings no benefit to the patient, is harmful or wasteful. He also pointed out a possible reason for this is because most medical research and the articles reporting this research in journals are of poor quality. Well, Scott Adams doubled down and he said, quote, in other words, most of the published studies are absolute BS, but doctors don't know that, so they still prescribe based on those BS studies, end quote. Okay, so we talk a lot about this in our book. Junk science shapes a lot of treatment decisions.
Exactly. One of the reasons for this is that many journals generate enormous amounts of money by selling reprints of articles to drug companies. The reprints are then given to drug reps who hand them out to doctors as marketing tools. For example, at one point, over 40% of the Lancet's income was derived from reprints. Merck and Company spent nearly $700,000 on reprints of the Vigor trial to help sell Vioxx, a drug that was estimated to have caused over 100,000 deaths.
So naturally, drug companies won't buy reprints that make their products look bad.
Of course not. And here's the real danger. Many doctors rely on these very studies published in so-called top journals to make treatment decisions. That misplaced trust results in flawed science having enormous influence. Meanwhile, patients doing their own research often have no idea about conflicts like this, and many don't know how to investigate beyond the headlines to determine if claims about many health issues, including even diet, are accurate.
Can you give us an example of this?
Oh, sure. In 2022, a widely circulated article claimed that olive oil consumption reduced cancer risk. Well, I got dozens of emails telling me that this proved my recommendation to minimize oils in the diet was all wrong. But when I read the article, a systematic review, even the authors admitted their findings were riddled with limitations. Still, the piece went viral, boosted the journal's impact factor, and misled hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. What isn't talked about enough is in 2023 alone, over 10,000 academic papers were retracted, many from high impact journals due to misconduct or bad science.
And this lines up with what Marcia Angel, former editor-in-chief of the New England Journal of Medicine, wrote several years ago, saying that it's simply no longer possible to believe much of the clinical research that's published or to rely on the judgment of trusted physicians or authoritative medical guidelines. And we wrote about this in our book. She said she takes no pleasure in this conclusion, which she just reached slowly over her 2 or so decades as an editor.
And likewise, that happened with me. I started my career thinking that there was a lot to be learned from medical journals, but she wasn't alone. Richard Horton, editor of The Lancet, agreed in 2015. He wrote, quote, "The case against science is straightforward. Much of the scientific literature, perhaps half, may simply be untrue. Science has taken a turn toward darkness," end of quote. The truth is, about 95% of what's published in medical journals is not reliable. It's plagued by conflicts of interest, poor study design, and sometimes outright fraud. Even worse, there are rarely any consequences. People express outrage and then they move on. As Stefan Eriksson of Uppsala University pointed out, the scientific community isn't even sure how to handle co-authors involved in fraud.
That's wild. Because imagine a bank president saying, "We're not sure what to do about fraud."
Exactly. I mean, in most industries, fraud leads to firings or even criminal prosecution. In medicine, too often it leads to nothing. And this could be one reason for Dr. Malhotra's claim.
This is also another good reason to become an informed consumer of healthcare, to protect yourself and your family from receiving useless or harmful medical care. Thanks for the discussion, Pam. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, you can call Wellness Forum at 614-841-7700, or you can email me at pampopper@wellnessforum.com. If you have questions or you'd like to buy a signed copy of our book, it's also available on Amazon, Kindle, and Nook.
Sounds good. I'll provide details in the description, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed our quick take on why sometimes medical care can be useless and maybe even harmful. And I hope you decide to become an informed consumer of your own healthcare. Please contact Wellness Forum Health if you have any questions, or email Pam if you'd like to sign up for the microbiome boot camp or our launch party. We really hope to see you there. Otherwise, please pass this on to anybody you feel may enjoy watching it, and we will be back to you next week with more news. Thank you for watching.